So good afternoon, everyone. This is Tony Whitbeck, or I should say good morning and aloha to those of you who are in Hawaii, which is all of you. Today's presentation is on the services that are being offered by Key Management Group. And as I mentioned, we're really excited to have Joanne Watanabe on our team. She formerly was a franchise consultant and joined our team as an associate franchise consultant. And she decided to join our firm because she thought that there were plenty of services that we offer that she currently doesn't offer, and she would like to be able to share those with each and every one of you. So one of the things that she asked me to do was to give a brief overview of the services that we offer at Key Management Group, and then to take any questions that you have about those services. So what I'd like to do is cover that. So first of all, Key Management Group is a franchise consulting business at Ameriprise, and we offer a comprehensive set of services that help advisors organize, grow, and transition their business. We don't work just at Ameriprise. We also have some other partner firms, which is Cetera, Northwestern Mutual, and Raymond James, but probably 90% of our business comes from Ameriprise advisors. I've been with Ameriprise for 28 years. My two business partners have each been here 16 or 17 years, and some of our coaches have been here 30 plus years. So we have a team of about 30 people. There's three owners of the firm. There's myself, Nick Tucker, and Steve Brada. And then we have a number of coaches on our team, and I'll talk about our coaching service. And we also then have a number of other employees in our outsourcing department, as well as our acquisition and legacy planning. So you can see from this first slide here that we offer a number of services, and at the highest level, we have what's called our strategic leadership package. And this is where we focus one-on-one with the owner of the practice. And I'm going to talk about each one of these a little bit in more detail. The second is our operational performance package. And with this particular package, we work with the team, which includes the staff members. We identify 2 or 3 pain points in the operations of the business, and then over a 6-month time frame, we try to resolve those issues. The third is our complete practice management solution, and this is where we bring all of our best practices to the table and really help an advisor really restructure their operations to make sure it's running efficiently and effectively. And this is a pretty complex process and very complete process, and I'll talk a little bit more in a minute. We offer 2 outsourcing services. We do client meeting preparation, we do financial plan production, and then we offer some HR solutions around recruiting and making sure you're compliant from an HR perspective. And then we have a host of acquisition and legacy planning services, which I'm going to talk about here in just a few minutes. Before I actually cover all the services that we offer, I'm going to do a quick poll of those that are attending. And I'm going to ask you some questions about the different types of services either you're currently using or perhaps would be interested in using. So at this point, this is the audience participation part. So what I'd like to do is ask a few questions, and you're going to answer those questions by clicking on the appropriate answer on your screen. So the first question is, are you currently using a coach to help you grow your business? You can select either yes or no. Again, if we can get everybody to cast their vote, that would be wonderful. We're still waiting on a couple. All right. Oh, 100% of you are not using a coach to help you grow your business. So there might be some opportunities to take advantage of our strategic leadership service. The second question that I have for you is, do you think that you could improve the efficiency and effectiveness of your operations? Yes or no? And we're still waiting on a couple people to place their votes. There we go. Okay, well, 100% of you said you could improve the efficiency and effectiveness of your operations. Well, that may tie into not having a coach. The third question is, are you currently outsourcing financial plan production to Plan Source or any other firm? Waiting on a couple more to cast their vote. All right. 33% of you are currently outsourcing planned production, and 2/3 of you are not. The fourth, I have 7 questions, by the way, and so here's the fourth question. Are you currently outsourcing client meeting preparation? Yes or no? Okay, unanimous. No one is outsourcing client meeting preparation. And this might be something that's new to you, something that we offer that I'm not familiar with too many firms, or firms within Ameriprise that offer this service. I know that PlanSource is doing a derivative of it, but not like what we're doing. All right, we got a few more questions. Have you valued your practice in the last 24 months? Yes or no? Okay, 1/3 of you have valued your practice in the last 24 months, but 2/3 of you have not. So clearly there's an opportunity to value your practice. You can do it for different reasons. You can do it for equity management, you can do it for continuity planning, and you can do it for succession planning. The sixth and second to last question, do you have a written continuity plan to protect your practice in the event of death or disability? All right, 33% of you do and 67% of you don't. Oftentimes your practice is your largest asset that you have, and you would determine that by doing a business valuation. And it's important that you protect that asset, and yet 2/3 of you have not yet protected that asset. All right, the last question is, are you planning to retire in the next 5 years? Yes or no? Okay, and 100% of you are no. So that means that you're not going to retire in the next 5 years. The reason I asked this last question is that if people are thinking about retiring in the next 5 years, now may be the best time to do that. We do a separate webinar called The 5 Reasons to Consider Retiring Now. And number one is there's still a lot more buyers than sellers. And that is changing, though. More and more people are selling their practice. Number two is market prices for practices are at all-time highs. We don't see them really getting any higher. Number three is that interest rates are at all-time lows. And so someone who's buying a practice can support a larger purchase payment because they can borrow money at a cheap rate to buy a practice. And I would say that 95% of the practices that we sell are financed. Number four, compliance and technology are getting more complex. And number five, every year you wait, not only are you a year older, but so are your clients. And client age has a lot to do with the value of a practice. So when you look at those 5 different elements that are going on right now, it's kind of the perfect storm in a positive way for someone to consider selling their practice if they're looking to do so in the next 2 to 3 years. All right, so let's dig deeper into some of the services that we offer. So first of all, the process that we use is called the AIM process, which stands for Assess, Identify, and Map. So the first step in our process is to assess the situation, and we have 4 different types of assessment tools. The first is our business valuation, and the business valuation is used to determine the fair market of the practice, and what are the key factors that influence that. Now, our street price for a business valuation is $12.95, but for Ameriprise advisors, it's $8.95, so it's a $400 discount on our valuation. We use 2 different methodologies to value your practice. One is a multiples or market approach, and the other one is a discounted cash flow. And then we average the 2 to come up with a fair market value. What's probably most valuable about this service is that you get 1 hour of consulting with our expert that will review the valuation with you and talk about anything you want to talk about regarding the value of your business or succession planning. So we don't just send you a book with the value, we actually will send you the valuation and give you an hour of consulting. We do probably 350 valuations per year, so we're very well versed in doing these types of valuations. The second assessment tool that everyone on the call can complete if you choose to do so, and that's called our quick online assessment. And it's really a high-level overview for advisors that want to explore how our services could work for them. So we're going to ask you a number of questions regarding the 6 areas of practice management, which I'll cover in a minute. And then we'll take the results from that and we'll set up a 30-minute consultation with you to discuss the outcome of that assessment. And again, that's free and you can take that right on our website. The third is our in-depth practice assessment, but I'm going to skip over that for a minute and come back to it. And the fourth is our HR assessment. The HR assessment is really to ensure that your practice is compliant with the state and federal laws, and that really you're employing best practices regarding the staffing of your practice. There's so many things that can go wrong when it comes to staffing from an HR perspective. Our assessment will review what it is that you're currently doing and identify where there's some gaps. And so our HR assessment is $795. Now the in-depth assessment, and the reason I skipped over it is because it includes 3 things. It includes the business valuation, it includes the HR assessment, and it also includes an operational assessment. So the cost of our in-depth assessment is $34.95. You will get 3 different deliverables. You will have the business valuation, an hour of consulting. You will have the HR assessment and an hour of consulting. And then you will have a written deliverable on the assessment of your operations. And so we will be interviewing the advisor as well as all the staff members, up to 5, and identifying where the gaps are in the practice. And then we'll give you specific recommendations on what you can do to improve your business. So when we look at the business valuation, we're going to be identifying expense ratios and things like that, and see, are you spending too little or too much money on certain aspects of your business? The HR assessment speaks for itself. And then operationally, do you have the right people doing the right thing? Does everyone understand their roles and responsibility? Do you have good workflows and policies and procedures in place? Do you have a operation manual? And so you get all 3 of those for $34.95, and that typically takes us anywhere from 5 to 7 weeks to complete all 3 steps in that process. So regardless of the different assessment type that you're using, we want to look at the 6 key areas to identify where there might be some areas for improvement. So the first is vision and foundation. The second is team management, then the client experience, marketing and acquisition, business management, and then continuity and legacy planning. These are very similar to the ideal practice model that Ameriprise has. The one thing that's missing from their model is the continuity and legacy planning piece, which we call out separately. So once we've reviewed one of our assessments, we identify the areas of improvement, and then we map it to what service makes the most sense for you based upon the needs in your practice. So our strategic leadership package is a one-on-one relationship between one of our executive coaches and you as the business owner. Typically, you'll meet either monthly or bi-weekly, and you'll deal with all 6 areas with a focus on the areas that you have the biggest gap. I would call this more strategic than tactical, which is why we call it the strategic leadership package. And so really we're going to be coaching you on what types of things you should be doing, but we're not going to be doing them for you. When you get into actually doing things for you or with you, that gets into more of our practice management. So our operational performance package is designed to help you deal with 2 or 3 pain points in the operations. It might be around the financial planning process. It might be around the client experience. It might be around marketing. And then our coaches will work with you and your team to put together a game plan to fix those problems. Complete practice management is very comprehensive. This is where you will have one-on-ones with our practice management team on a weekly basis. The staff members will meet on a weekly basis with our practice management team. There's a monthly team meeting. There's accountability on a regular basis. We bring to the table our Connect practice management platform, which is all of our tracking tools. We will work with you to create model work weeks. We will identify everyone's roles and responsibilities. It's really a comprehensive approach to running an effective financial planning practice. As I mentioned, we have 2 outsourcing services. We have case preparation or client meeting preparation, and this is pretty unique. We do about 250 a week for advisors, and so we deliver to you an agenda for your meeting, and we've done all the research. What happens is our team becomes on behalf of advisor or staff member in your practice, so we have access to your client base. And what happens is we do all the pre-work, we do all the work at creating the agenda, we identify all the gaps, and we also create a PowerPoint presentation for the client. And we charge between $50 and $75 per appointment. Financial plan outsourcing, we operate very similar to PlanSource, and our prices are very similar as well. What I would say, the feedback that we've gotten from our clients in terms of the difference between us, number 1 is the time zone, number 2 is the language barrier, and number 3 is we spend more time actually identifying opportunities instead of just creating a financial plan and documenting what it is that you would like us to document. We have some HR packages, including a recruiting package. We have our acquisition and consulting service, and this is where for an hourly rate, we can help you with anything that's acquisition related or legacy planning related. We have a turnkey continuity plan and a turnkey guardian plan. Our turnkey continuity plan is designed for advisors who know who their successor is going to be. And so we'll do a business valuation, we'll put together the legal documents between you and your successor, and we do that for $18.95. Our turnkey guardian plan is unique, and that's something that we offer for advisors who don't know who their successor would be. And so we do a business valuation, and we put together a guardian plan that basically says, in the event of your death or disability, Key Management Group will become the guardian of your practice until we are able to sell it. And so our advisors will be assigned to the clients, will work with your staff members, our staff will work with your staff, and then we'll put the practice up for sale on our Advisor Legacy platform. Which brings me to the last piece, which is Advisor Legacy. And this is the platform that we use to help people buy and sell practices. In this platform, we represent the seller. What that means is that a seller comes to us and said, I'm looking to sell my practice. We create a profile about their practice, and then we publish it on our Advisor Legacy platform. We have about 1,200 Ameriprise buyers that are on the platform. They'll all receive an invitation to look at the profile. Once they look at the profile, they can express interest if they do, in fact, have an interest in the practice. Once we sort through those who express interest, we're going to invite a smaller number of them to place a bid on the practice. Once we sort through the bids, we'll then invite a smaller group of people to enter our interview process. And then once we finish the interviews, the seller will select who they want their buyer to be, and then we'll typically have face-to-face meetings and finalize negotiations, help close the deal, set up the transition plan, and help the buyer get financing. So it's a pretty lengthy process. It takes about 4 months from start to finish before the practice is sold, and then there's usually about a 6-month transition period. So as you can see, as I shared with you, there's a lot of different things that we do, and I think this is why Joanne decided that she wanted to represent our brand and be a coach within our system. And you can see we have the 4 different assessment tools. Again, the business valuations are $8.95. The online assessment is free. The in-depth assessment is $34.95, and the HR assessment is $7.95. I don't recall if I covered the pricing on the Turnkey Guardian plan, but that's $12.95, and the Turnkey Continuity plan was $18.95. So let me pause there and let's open it up to some questions. So the best way to do this would be to either raise your hand or ask a question through our GoToWebinar control panel. So I'm going to pause here for a minute. Looks like we might have a question, but it might have been the previous question. So 1 minute, please. Okay. So again, go to your GoToWebinar control panel and either raise your hand and I'll unmute your microphone, or you can type in a question and I'll read off that question. All right, I'm gonna start picking on people. Tom, thanks for joining the call today. Do you have any questions on the different services that we offer?
No, I don't think so yet. I'm just sort of looking, I've taken some notes. I'm just sort of trying to grapple with the variety and the range of stuff that you do offer.
Okay, that's
and
fair.
I would also actually, just thinking about this webinar, you mentioned that you were recording it. And so I would like the way to be able to listen to it later on, to just think about what you've talked about, and then contact you if I've, once I have more idea of what I might want to do.
Okay, that'd be great. I'll make sure I send you a link to the recording. And I would encourage everyone to visit our website. You can see it's keymanagementgrp.com. All of the services that we offer are listed there, and as well as the pricing. That's where you can take the quick online assessment. You can actually buy our valuations and turnkey continuity plans right online. So there's a lot of information there. So thanks for your feedback, Tom. And I'm going to unmute. Is it Rie? R-I-E? Yeah, he said he could hear me, but I'm not sure I can hear him. So I'm going to go ahead and mute him, and then I'm going to go over to David, and then I'll stop picking on people. But so David Ullman, any comments or questions for today?
Yeah, I was interested in also learning more about um, the Guardian package. So you would be so if an advisor is disabled or whatever, you would assist with taking over the practice, and be good to get a little bit more description of how that service works.
Sure. Well, I'd be happy to follow up with you after today's webinar.
Okay.
In essence, what happens is we put a succession plan in place that says if you were to die or become disabled, that my business partner, Nick Tucker, who's a private wealth advisor, he would become the temporary successor of your practice, and all the clients would be assigned to him. We would continue to operate your practice, pay your staff if you have staff, pay all the normal business expenses to keep it running, because we're receiving the income from the practice. And then we put it up for sale on our advisor legacy platform, which I described, where we build the profile, we publish it to 1,200 advisors, et cetera. And so our goal is to try to get it sold as quickly as possible. But in the meantime, since we're assigned to the accounts, we're getting the revenue, it's our obligation to run the practice. This particular package is, originally we intended it, or we thought the people that would be buying it would be maybe people in a remote area that don't know who their successor would be, or maybe a smaller practice. But ironically, we've had a lot of big practices that have signed up for this as well, because they don't know someone in their area that has the wherewithal to take over a practice as big as they have. So it's really been all across the board in terms of how many, or the types of people that have signed up for this. I think we have to date 40 or 41 advisors that have asked us to be their guardian to protect their practice in the event of death or disability.
Great.
But we can certainly follow up with you. Go ahead.
Please. That'd be great. No, that's good. Thank you.
All right. So David, I'm going to mute you again. And I think at this point, what I'm going to do is wrap up. I don't want to pick on anybody else. And so I want to thank you for your time today. I said we'd be done in 30 minutes, and it's been 33 minutes. We got off to a slow start with some technology problems. But thank you for your time today. Visit our website, and I will follow up with each of you. Thanks. Have a great day.